They call her worthless. They work her until her hands bleed. They make her sleep in a hut where rain pours through the roof like tears from heaven. But when death comes knocking, when their world crumbles and falls apart, suddenly the slave they created becomes the only one who can save them. The woman they tried to break becomes the one holding all the power. This is a story about karma, about hidden strength, and about the day everything changed. This is the story of Amara.
Fair African Tales. Subscribe and turn on the bell for new stories.
The sun barely kisses the horizon when Amara's feet touch the cold ground. She's 21, fresh from her father's compound, and this morning marks her first day in Chief Okonkwo's household. 3 other wives already live here, each one older, each one watching her like vultures circling wounded prey. She walks through the compound gate carrying nothing but a small raffia bag and hope in her heart. The chief chose her after all. That must mean something. That must mean she matters. "You're the new one." The voice cuts through the morning air like a machete. Amara turns to see a woman with tribal marks carved deep into her cheeks, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. This is Neka, the first wife, the one who's ruled this compound for 20 years. "Yes, Ma, I am Amara. I'm honoured to—" "Honoured?" Neka laughs, but there's no warmth in it. "You'll learn what honour means here soon enough. Take your things to that hut." She points to the smallest structure at the edge of the compound, half hidden behind the yam barn. "That's where you sleep. When you're done, come to the main kitchen. The morning meal won't cook itself." Amara nods, swallowing the questions rising in her throat. She drags her bag to the tiny hut. Inside, there's barely room for a mat. The roof leaks in 3 places. Cobwebs hang like curtains in every corner. This can't be right. But she remembers her mother's words before she left. "Endure, my daughter. Endure and survive." Before she even unpacks, a sharp voice pierces the air. "New wife, where are you? We're waiting." She rushes to the kitchen compound. 3 women stand there, the hierarchy written on their faces. Neka, the first wife, arms still crossed. Adana, the second wife, younger but just as cold, with jewelry that jingles when she moves. And Obiageli, the third wife, who at least offers something that might be a smile, though it doesn't reach her eyes. "You know how to cook?" Adana doesn't wait for an answer. "Doesn't matter. You'll learn or you'll starve." The chief likes his yam porridge thick, not watery like river water. He wants his peppers ground fine, not chunky. And if you burn anything, she lets the threat hang in the air. "I'll do my best, Ma," Amara says softly. "Your best." Neka steps closer. "Your best is expected. Perfection is required. You're the youngest. You serve us first, the chief second. Yourself never. Understand?" Amara's stomach twists, but she nods. This isn't what she imagined. Not even close. The weeks blur into months. And each day hammers home the same brutal truth. She isn't a wife here. She's a servant. She's a shadow. She's something less than human. Every morning she wakes before the first rooster crows. She fetches water from the stream while stars still dot the sky, carrying heavy clay pots on her head until her neck screams in agony. She sweeps the entire compound while the other wives sleep. She starts the cooking fires, chops the vegetables, grinds the peppers until her hands blister and bleed. When the other wives finally wake, they inspect her work like judges at a trial. "This corner isn't swept properly," Adana says, kicking dust into Amara's face. "Do it again." "The water is cloudy," Obiageli complains, though the stream runs clear as glass. Go back and fetch more. You call this pepper ground fine? Naka dumps an entire mortar of Amara's work onto the ground. My grandmother could grind better than this, and she's been dead 15 years. Start over. Amara starts over. Always starts over. Her back bends under the weight of endless tasks. Wash the clothes, all the clothes. Scrub the pots, all the pots. Weed the gardens. Clean the chicken coops. Fetch more water. Always more water. The chief barely notices her existence. When he does speak to her, it's only to echo his other wives' complaints. Amara, why is my meal cold? Amara, why are my clothes still damp? Amara, can't you do anything right? She wants to scream that she's doing everything, that she's drowning in work while the others sit in shade sipping palm wine and gossiping. But she stays silent. Words are weapons here, and she has none. Night after night, she collapses on her thin mat in the leaking hut, too exhausted even to cry. Her hands crack and bleed. Her feet develop calluses thick as leather. Her body becomes a map of bruises from stumbling in the dark, from carrying loads too heavy, from sheer exhaustion. But something else happens in those quiet, painful nights. Something the other wives don't see. Amara's grandmother was a healer, a woman who knew every plant in the forest, every root that cured, and every leaf that soothed. Before Amara left home, her grandmother pressed dried herbs into her hands. "These may save you one day," she whispered. "Remember what I taught you. Remember." In the stolen moments between tasks, Amara studies those herbs. When she fetches water from the stream, she gathers plants her grandmother showed her. Bitter leaf for fevers, uziza for strength, scent leaf for cleansing. She dries them in secret, hanging them in the darkest corner of her hut where no one looks. She watches everything too. While the other wives assume she's too stupid or too beaten down to notice, Amara observes. She sees how Naka's hands shake when she thinks no one's looking, how she clutches her chest when climbing stairs. She notices Adana's jealousy, the way her eyes follow the chief with desperate hunger whenever he speaks to the younger wives. She catches Obia gaily sneaking food late at night, hoarding supplies, whispering to herself. This household is a pot about to boil over. Amara can feel it, but she keeps grinding peppers, keeps fetching water, keeps surviving. Then one morning, everything changes. Amara arrives at the kitchen to find it empty. Strange. Usually at least one of the wives is there to supervise, to criticize, to find fault. She starts preparing breakfast alone, grateful for the unexpected peace. But the peace shatters when she hears screaming. "Help! Somebody help!" It's Obiageli's voice, raw with panic. Amara drops the knife she's holding and runs. She finds Obiageli outside Naka's hut, tears streaming down her face. "It's Naka! She won't wake up! She's burning like fire!" Inside the hut, Naka lies on her mat, skin grey as ash, body trembling violently. Sweat pours off her like rain. Her breath comes in shallow gasps. Adana kneels beside her, shaking her shoulders. "First wife, Naka, open your eyes." Nothing. Naka's eyes roll back in her head. Foam appears at the corners of her mouth. "Someone fetch the chief!" Adana screams. "Fetch the medicine man! Fetch anyone!" Obiageli runs to find help, but Amara knows what she's seeing. Her grandmother showed her this before. The grey skin, the trembling, the foam. This is poison in the blood, or a sickness that kills within hours if left untreated. She should walk away. Every logical bone in her body says to let karma do its work. Let the woman who made her life torture face the consequences. Let the other wives scramble. Let them feel helpless for once. But Amara's grandmother taught her something else. Healing isn't about who deserves it, it's about what's right. Move, Amara says quietly. Adana looks up, eyes red and wild. What? Move away from her. Let me see. You, what can you do? You're just the youngest wife. Amara's voice carries an edge neither of them have heard before. Just the one who's been watching and learning while you've been comfortable. Move, now, or she dies while you waste time. Something in Amara's tone makes Adana scramble backward. Amara kneels beside Neka, pressing her fingers to the first wife's neck. The pulse is there, but weak, fluttering like a trapped bird. She lifts Neka's eyelids, checks her tongue, smells her breath. When did she eat last? Last night, Adana whispers. We all ate together. What did she eat that you didn't? I don't know. We shared everything. Amara's mind races. Then she remembers. Last night, Neka insisted on eating the mushrooms that grew near the old Iroko tree. Amara warned her those mushrooms were dangerous. But Neka dismissed her with a wave. What does a child know about mushrooms? Apparently more than you, Amara thinks, but there's no time for that now. She runs to her hut, grabs her secret stash of herbs. Her hands move with certainty as she crushes bitter leaf, mixes it with scent leaf, adds crushed seeds of alligator pepper. She boils water over the fastest fire she's ever built, creates a dark, pungent mixture that smells like earth and salvation. Hold her head up, she commands Adana. For once, the second wife obeys without question. Amara forces the mixture between Neka's lips, drop by drop. Swallow, she whispers. Fight, swallow. Minutes stretch like hours. Neka's body convulses once, twice, then she vomits violently, purging whatever poison was killing her from the inside out. The room smells terrible, but Amara doesn't care. She keeps administering the herbs, keeps whispering encouragements, keeps fighting death with everything her grandmother taught her. Slowly, impossibly, colour returns to Neka's face. Her breathing steadies, her eyes flutter open, confused and weak, but open. What happened? Neka's voice is barely a whisper. You almost died, Amara says simply. The mushrooms you ate were poisonous. I gave you something to counteract them. Neka stares at her, truly seeing her for the first time. You saved me. Before Amara can answer, the chief bursts into the hut with the medicine man trailing behind him. What's happened? Where's my first wife? She's here, Amara says, standing slowly. She was poisoned by mushrooms. She's stable now. The medicine man examines Neka, checks her pulse, looks at the herb mixture still steaming in the corner. His eyes widen. Who made this medicine? I did, Amara says. Where did you learn this? My grandmother was a healer. She taught me. The medicine man nods slowly, respect dawning in his eyes. This mixture, this saved her life. Without it, she would have been dead before I arrived. You have a gift, child. The chief looks between his first wife, now sitting up weakly, and his youngest wife, standing covered in sweat and vomit and exhaustion. Something shifts in his expression. But the crisis isn't over. 3 days later, just as Neka starts recovering, a different disaster strikes. Adana's daughter, her precious firstborn who lives in a nearby village, arrives in the night, carried by her husband. She's heavily pregnant and bleeding. Complications. The kind that kill women in childbirth. Please, Adana begs the medicine man, save my daughter, save my grandchild. The medicine man examines the girl and shakes his head. The baby is positioned wrong. I can try to turn it, but He trails off, but everyone understands. The chances are slim. Death is probable. Adana collapses, wailing. The proud, cold woman who tormented Amara for months is suddenly just a terrified mother watching her daughter slip away. Amara stands in the shadows, watching. She could walk away. This isn't her problem. Adana never showed her mercy. But again, her grandmother's voice whispers in her mind, healing isn't about who deserves it. I might be able to help, Amara says quietly. Everyone turns to stare at her. Adana's eyes are desperate, swollen from crying. You know about childbirth? My grandmother delivered babies for 40 years. She taught me things. I can't promise anything, but I can try. Try, Adana chokes out. Please, try anything. Amara approaches the labouring girl, who is barely conscious. She checks the baby's position with gentle, practiced hands. It's bad, but not impossible. She's seen her grandmother handle worse. I need hot water, clean cloths, and privacy, she says firmly. Everyone out except Adana. I'll need her help. For the first time, the second wife takes orders from the youngest without argument. They work through the night, Amara's hands guided by memory and instinct, Adana following every instruction. Amara massages, repositions, uses herbal mixtures to strengthen contractions, whispers prayers her grandmother taught her. Dawn breaks, and with it, a baby's cry pierces the air. The girl lives, the baby lives, against all odds, both live. Adana collapses to her knees, sobbing, but this time with relief. She grabs Amara's hands, presses them to her forehead. Thank you, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Amara helps her to her feet. Your daughter needs you now. Go to her. Word spreads through the compound like wildfire. The youngest wife, the one they treated like dirt, has saved 2 lives in 1 week. The whispers begin. The shame begins. A week later, Obiageli falls sick. Not with poison or childbirth complications, but with something worse. A sickness of the spirit. She stops eating, stops speaking, sits in her hut staring at nothing. The medicine man tries everything. Prayers are offered. Sacrifices are made. Nothing works. Amara watches from a distance and she knows what's happening. She's seen it before. Obiageli isn't physically sick. She's drowning in guilt, in secrets, in burdens she's carried alone for too long. One evening, Amara enters Obiageli's hut uninvited. The third wife doesn't even look up. You should just let me fade away, she whispers. I deserve it. Why? Amara asks, sitting beside her. Because I'm horrible. Because I've been stealing from the household stores for months to feed my sister's children in the next village. Because I've been lying to everyone. Because I helped make your life a nightmare when you arrived. Amara is quiet for a long moment. Then she says, Why didn't you just ask for help? Because nobody asks for help here. We're all too busy competing, too busy proving we're better than each other. We're all drowning, but we pretend we're swimming. Then stop pretending, Amara says simply. Tell the chief about your sister's children. Tell him they need help. He's not a monster. He's just a man who doesn't know what happens in his own compound because nobody tells him the truth. He'll punish me for stealing. Maybe. Or maybe he'll help your sister's family. You won't know until you try, but wasting away in here helps nobody. Not you, not your sister, not those children. Obiageli looks at her, really looks at her. Why are you being kind to me after everything? Because holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. My grandmother taught me that too. That night, Obiageli confesses everything to the chief, To everyone's surprise, he doesn't punish her. Instead, he sends food and supplies to her sister's family. He asks why she didn't come to him sooner. The compound begins to understand that their problems were never about resources. They were about pride, about fear, about a hierarchy built on cruelty instead of cooperation. And through it all, Amara remains steady, not gloating, not vengeful, simply present. The changes come gradually, then all at once. Neka, recovering from her poisoning, calls Amara to her hut one morning. The first wife looks older now, tired, but her eyes are clearer than before. "Sit," she says, gesturing to a stool. Amara sits, waiting. "I need to say something I should have said months ago." Neka takes a deep breath. I'm sorry for how we treated you. I'm sorry for making you a slave instead of a sister. I was cruel because I was scared. Scared of what? Of becoming irrelevant, of getting old, of being replaced. When you arrived, so young and pretty, I saw everything I'm losing. So I tried to crush you before you could threaten me. I was wrong. You're not a threat. You're the best thing that's happened to this household in years. Amara's throat tightens. She didn't realize how much she needed to hear those words. Adana comes next, bringing food to Amara's hut, sitting with her, talking late into the night. She shares stories about her daughter, about her own struggles as a wife, about the loneliness she's carried for years. The walls between them crumble. Obiageli starts teaching Amara the household accounts, sharing responsibilities, treating her as an equal. The four wives begin to function as a unit instead of a battlefield. The chief notices everything. One evening, he summons all four wives to the main compound. They come nervously, unsure what to expect. "I've been blind," he says without preamble. "I've let this household run on cruelty and competition because it was easier than paying attention. I let traditions of hierarchy become excuses for abuse. That ends now." He turns to Amara. "You saved my first wife's life. You saved my second wife's daughter and grandchild. You helped my third wife find her voice again. You've done more for this family in a few months than I've done in years. From today, you're not the youngest wife in rank. You're equal to all. What you say carries weight. Your skills will be honored, not hidden." Neka steps forward. "More than equal. She should help me manage the household. We need her wisdom." Adana nods. "And her healing knowledge. My daughter wants her there for her next birth." Obiageli smiles. "And her kindness. This place needs more of it." Amara looks at them all. These women who tormented her, who nearly broke her, who are now looking at her with respect and something that might be love. She thinks about revenge, about how sweet it might feel to throw their cruelty back in their faces. But then she thinks about her grandmother, about healing, about the person she wants to be. "I forgive you," she says simply. "All of you. And yes, I'll help. We'll build something better here, together." The compound transforms over the following months. The competition between wives dissolves into cooperation. Amara teaches them about herbs and healing. They teach her about managing stores, handling disputes, navigating complex family politics. The chief starts actually listening to all of them, seeking their counsel, treating them as partners instead of possessions. Word spreads to other compounds. Other youngest wives, suffering in silence, start finding their voices. Other households begin questioning old hierarchies. Change ripples outward like stones thrown in a pond. Amara's leaking hut gets repaired, then rebuilt, then expanded. But by then, she barely sleeps there anymore. The four wives often stay up late together, talking, laughing, planning. The hierarchy hasn't completely disappeared, traditions still hold power, but cruelty no longer masquerades as culture. 1 year after she arrived, Amara stands in the compound at dawn, not to fetch water as a slave, but to gather morning herbs by choice. She watches the sun rise, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Neka joins her, moving slower these days, but with peace in her face. What are you thinking about? About how close I came to running away, about how many nights I wanted to disappear. What stopped you? My grandmother told me that the seed buried deepest sometimes grows the strongest roots. I didn't understand then. I do now. Neka nods. We almost killed that seed. Thank the ancestors you were tougher than our cruelty. Not tougher, just stubborn and maybe a little bit hopeful. They stand together in comfortable silence, watching the compound wake up. Two women who were enemies, now something like friends. Two women who learned the hard way that strength isn't about domination. It's about lifting each other up. The youngest wife was treated like a slave. She endured. She learned. She survived. And when the moment came, when the eldest wives needed her most, she chose grace over revenge, healing over hurt. Because that's what true strength looks like. Not in crushing those beneath you, but in rising despite those who tried to keep you down. Not in revenge, but in redemption. Not in perpetuating cycles of pain, but in breaking them. This is the story of Amara, the youngest wife who became the heart of her household, not through cruelty, but through an unbreakable spirit and a healer's hands. Remember this: the person you underestimate today might be the one who saves you tomorrow. The one you treat as invisible might be the only one who truly sees. The seed you try to bury might grow into the tree that shades you. Treat people with dignity, value them, see them. You never know when you'll need the very person you overlooked. If this story touched your heart, if Amara's journey moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to Fair African Tales. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it today. Drop a comment telling us about a time when someone underestimated you, or when you witnessed someone's hidden strength emerge. We have more incredible African stories waiting for you, tales of courage, resilience, and the strength of the human spirit. Don't miss them. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And remember, every person has value. Every person has gifts. Every person deserves to be seen. Be the one who sees others, and you'll never walk in darkness. Until next time, this is Fair African Tales, reminding you that the most powerful stories are the ones that change how we treat each other. Subscribe, share, and never underestimate the power of a kind heart.